Hello and welcome to my book review of Wayward by Blake Crouch, the second title in the Wayward Pines Trilogy. Just like I did with Pines, I brought along the Gauntlet Borderlands edition. We're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. So, Wayward, which is a very poorly titled book, by the way, because you would think the Wayward Pines Trilogy, you'd have Wayward, and then you'd have Pines. No, you start with Pines, then you have Wayward. So be sure that you read these in order, or you are going to spoil the magic and surprises that Pines has in store for you. So make sure you read Pines first. But Wayward follows up on Pines. Former Secret Service agent Ethan Burke now finds himself the sheriff of Wayward Pines. And while the first one was definitely a mystery thriller, trying to figure out what the hell is happening with this bizarro town, which there is still bizarro town going on here, Wayward is predominantly a murder mystery. He finds a dead body as the sheriff, and as sheriff, he has to go and I shouldn't be showing. I don't even know if I should show you too much of this because I don't want to spoil anything from the first one. But yeah, he finds a dead body and he has to investigate this murder. And so primarily at the heart of Wayward is that murder mystery, and it works incredibly well. The bizarro nature of Wayward Pines is still there. There are a lot of characters who are still in the dark and confused by this strange town. You, the reader, will know the answers to most of these because you've read Pines first. Because you did not get fooled by the inverted titles, and it's good. It's still a solid novel. Just like the first one, it primarily follows Ethan Burke. This still also follows his wife. There are chapters for that. There are also chapters that involve two other characters. One being a man on an expedition outside of town, and one that features a prominent character with a little more backstory leading up to the events of Pines and Wayward Pines in general. And man, it's still a very solid read. I like great detective fiction, and although this isn't technically detective fiction, you can definitely see the influences of detective fiction. And Blake Crouch kicks ass. He really does. He knew his assignment, and he delivered with Wayward. I mean, you're still going to have your twists and turns. It ends with one being a reveal. There's a reveal that I'm like, wow, I did not see that coming. It also ends on a cliffhanger. So I guess if I had to make a complaint, I didn't like the cliffhanger ending. I did like it. It had you on your edge of your seat, and now I'm immediately diving into the third novel, The Last Town. But man, I didn't like it in the sense that, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird complaint to have because it was still a very solid novel. I can't really complain about it too much. It's just one of those things where, unfortunately, if you are reading Wayward, where you could read Pines and you could read Pines as a standalone. I don't know why you'd want to, because Wayward is just as terrific. But you cannot stop after Wayward. If you read Pines as a standalone, that's awesome. You can go on your life. You're going to want to read more probably, but you could go on your life not realizing there were sequels. If you decide to follow up with Wayward, you are immediately making the commitment to read The Last Town, the third novel. But I am already sold on it, so I can't really complain about that too much. What I can complain about, however, is this limited edition from Gauntlet and Borderlands. So for Pines, I complained that it's basically just a trade hardcover and with a signature sheet. The same thing applies to Wayward here. You got your stock image on the cover. One thing, and I actually discovered this during the unboxing video I did for this, is that one of my complaints about Gauntlet and Borderlands is they sometimes make very stupid mistakes, such as forgetting to change the blurb. This is the summary for Pines, the first novel. Like, they very clearly took the dust jacket layout, whatever file it was, and they replaced Pines with Wayward. They changed the cover image, but they forgot to change the blurb, which is disappointing. Oh, speaking of blurbs, this isn't a complaint about Gauntlet and Borderlands. This is actually a complaint about whoever did the blurb, because it was on the trade edition too. It was on the Gauntlet one, So I can even show you this here. This actually deals with Pines, the one I just reviewed, where it talks about he comes to in a hospital. He doesn't come to in a hospital. He comes to by the riverbank. Come on, guys. That's not a Gauntlet issue. That's not a typo on their part. That was on the back of the trade paperback as well. That was whoever. In fact, I think it was the exact same blurb. Like, this blurb here should be what's on the inside of Wayward. But whoever did that blurb on the trade edition for Pines just done goofed. They read a summary and put their own summary on there. Minor, gripe, but it is what it is. So, like I said, this is the signed edition from Gauntlet Press. Did Pines have it on the front? I honestly don't even remember now, or is it just plain black? I gotta go back and look at that now. It's just a plain trade hardcover, glued spines, but it is signed by Blake Crouch. Like I said, I didn't read this particular copy. I read the trade edition, so I can't speak as far as any formatting errors or typos within it. But just like Pines, the numbered edition does not have any bonus content, but the lettered edition, if you buy the lettered edition, does. There's apparently a novella or a short story. I think it's a novella that someone else wrote that takes place within Wayward Pines. And like half of that novella is in Wayward. The other half is in The Last Town, I believe, which is the third title. Which, like I said, I guess it kind of sucks that they would split a novella in half, so you're only getting half of the bonus content. But as I said earlier, if you are reading Wayward, you can't not buy The Last Town. Except for in my case, because I already have the trade edition for The Last Town, so I did not buy the Gauntlet Press edition because I was already disappointed with the first two. So that was before I had this wonderful paperback set, which was also signed by Blake Crouch. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. There are a couple bookstores online where you can actually buy the signed trade editions, the signed paperbacks. Gauntlet's edition is still in stock if you wanted a hardcover edition. Otherwise, I got this paperback from VJ Books. They are going out of business, so I don't know if they have any copies left, but there are other bookstores online where you can buy signed copies as well if you so desire them. I'm going to be immediately diving into The Last Town because you can't leave me on a cliffhanger like that. So if you want to watch the book review for that, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm doing at least one book review a week. Been doing two the past few weeks because I got to do some catching up. But I have plenty of unboxing videos in between those for you to check out as well if you wanted to watch those. Seriously, check out Blake Crouch. Check out his Wayward Pines trilogy. It is superb. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you around next time.